And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. So, this is my first live stream, so this will just be a test. We'll see how this actually goes. Earlier today, I had posted a community poll just asking you guys some questions, and I got a lot of good questions, but pretty much just boiled down to having enough time to answer all those questions, making it a video, process it, and doing all that stuff. It just didn't work out. So, I figured first thing I'll do is I'll read some of the questions, I'll answer them the best that I can. And then for those that I can't really answer, I'll just skip them. Otherwise, we'll just go to the, hey, what's up, guys, in the chat. Other than that, we'll just go through the chat. We'll do some live Q&A as we go. I don't know how long I'll actually do this live stream for because it's just the first time I'm doing it. I don't know. So, like I said, we're just going to test it out, see how this works. But I see we got D. Droop, Blake, AJ Music Lover. Good to see you guys. No, I haven't been on a stream before. Eric, I'm glad you guys enjoy these videos. Like I said, this is definitely something new. And all you guys that wrote comments and, do your likes and subscribes, I really appreciate it. So, Lord Bulbasaur, yeah, the reveal, right? The infamous face reveal. And I think one of the reasons why I also decide to go live is just, sometimes it's tough to spend the time to, process videos and stuff. Like I said, yeah, it's good to see you guys too. So we'll start it off. I'm just reading off my phone. I have all the questions here that you guys wrote. I'm just going to go in order from newest to oldest. So the first one's from Eric. Said, thoughts on Korean booster boxes? Definitely fun to break, but worth investing here and there. I like to display them since the Japanese booster box are getting out of hand. Yeah, anytime you do foreign language booster boxes, you're definitely taking a risk just because you're not going to have like as wide of a group of people that are actually going to want to purchase them. Japanese is a whole nother beast. There was a question in here talking about Japanese booster boxes, and it was pretty much saying like, should we be buying Japanese booster boxes at like $300 right at release? Honestly, Japanese booster boxes and Japanese product has just changed so drastically so quickly. And a lot of that is just when Japanese boxes first came out, it was just get them when you can get them because that's probably going to be the cheapest you ever get them. But pretty much all I could say is two things now. One, get Japanese booster boxes at release. Number two, keep them sealed. And most of the time, the reason you want to go after Japanese booster boxes, anyways, is for the promo card in it. Buy the promo card separate. Keep your Japanese booster box sealed. That's really going to be the only way you're going to come out on top there. So Dank asks, what would make a great current set if you could make a set? What would it include? How big would it be? What type of chase card would it be? And what ruins a set? Well, I don't know. So if I was going to do like my hypothetical dream set, I think it would be very similar to like a Cosmic Eclipse type thing where you would have like, your trainer cards with the character cards in it. We definitely, like in Cosmic Eclipse, we got the Pikachu with the red. Now, if Pokemon ever decided to have a trainer card with like an Ash in it, I think that would definitely be like, a real strong card. And who knows if they ever like decide to bring back tag teams. And can you imagine like a Charizard Pikachu tag team card? Like that'd just be ridiculous. But if you're gonna like design this perfect set in your brain, one, you're gonna have like true trainer cards. So you're gonna have like an Ash Pikachu, a Misty with Psyduck, like full art cards, Brock with an Onyx, like, yeah, in Cosmic Eclipse, you have like the Lieutenant Surge with the Magnemite, but it wasn't even like it was a Lieutenant Surge with the Raichu. And if you guys are familiar with like the first season of the show, Lieutenant Surges had a Raichu. Like that's a card we wanted, but that's not the card we got. And then, to the second part of his question is what ruins a set? And honestly, what ruins a set is just like not having that real true chase card. Like, sure, everybody likes to talk about like Steam Siege and Crimson Invasions being like those are the two worst sets. Well, what was like the chase card of Crimson Invasion? It was a Gyarados GX. Now, when you think about Gyarados GX being a chase card, like, yeah, there's a ton of people that love Gyarados. But you look at like just super recent, like Evolving Skies. There's a Gyarados VMAX in it. Yeah, they brought back Dragon Pokemon for this set. But like Gyarados VMAX with evolutions and like Rayquaza, he just gets so overshadowed. So to have a card like that be the the chase card of the set, that's really what kills sets, is when you have like a really popular Pokemon. Like you could say Gyarados is popular, but he's just not like this crazy fan favorite. So yeah, that's kind of what kills sets. So that's the answer to that question. And I tried to keep up with the chat, but it's kind of going a little quick for me. I appreciate you guys all joining. And if you hit the like button too, I mean, probably make this more visible to more people. Uh, would love to hear your thoughts on Lost Thunder as a set for collectors and investment. Is it a set that never really gets discussed too much, but has some really heavy hitters in it? Probably my favorite Sun and Moon set, and this is from Oh Serious. Now, I've actually mentioned Lost Thunder in, I want to say like 2 or 3 videos in the past. Yeah, it's a super underrated set, but I feel like more eyes are definitely going on Lost Thunder. So I don't really see people sleeping on it anymore. And just the whole Sun and Moon block as a whole, you can say a lot of people were sleeping on. And I think a lot of people were just sleeping on it because either one, they're very new to the hobby, so they're just either rejoining the hobby or they're just joining kind of for the first time. So when they look back at these like later Sun and Moon sets, like maybe they got to open a couple packs, but they probably like just missed those sets. And it's like this funny thing, and it's actually a question a little bit further down from Matt. What Matt asked, and this kind of like all ties into the whole Lost Under stuff, is Matt asks, with regards to investing, I'll skip to his question too. I would love to hear comparisons between 2020 with other hype periods in Pokemon history. For example, 2020, 2021 versus 2016. So yeah, Lost Thunder obviously being a Sun and Moon sets was going to be post 2016, but you know when I remember XY and how I remember 2016 is so much different than the way everyone else describes 2016. Everyone talks about 2016 with the Pokemon Go hype, evolutions being, like this crazy hot set, and then you had generations being super hot and people paying crazy money for generation. Now, the way I remember that time is so much different than the way everyone else remembers it. And the reason why I say it's different is I don't ever remember not being able to pick up cards. I don't remember being able to go to the store and not being able to like find the most current set. Now, was there probably a little time where generations was maybe a little scarce? Yes, but it's nothing like we're seeing today. And that's like the huge difference. And like I said, when I hear people talk about that kind of stuff, it just makes me like, it wasn't like that. It was just is different. And even in 2016, I wasn't like acquiring sealed product the way I am now. And I think that's for a multitude of reasons. Like, 5 years ago, my income was much different than it is today, and all the things that go with that. But the hype in 2016 was more about Pokemon Go. And there was definitely the hype behind the cards, but it wasn't, like I said, like it is. I'll try to read some of the chat real quick. I know it's hard to talk. Now I'm starting to realize what like some of the other PokeTubers that go live, what it's like reading the chat and talking at the same time. What's up, man? Yeah, good to see all you guys. I'm seeing a lot of names in this stream that I've seen before. And how old am I? I'm 34 years old, so I'm right around that like normal age, I would say most people in this hobby are. But no, it's good to see all you guys. Lane said, let's see, what are your thoughts on Amazing Rares? Do you think they are underrated versus overrated? Also, thank you for your videos. So Amazing Rares is that funny thing. Amazing Rares were underrated. And it's interesting because they were underrated because Vivid Voltage obviously being like the Pikachu being the hype card and the chase card and all this stuff. And then Amazing Rares made that set fun because anytime you could open packs, yeah, you got a green code card. It wasn't the end of the world. Like you can still get one of these awesome subsets of a card. And then we always said, well, will they produce more Amazing Rares? And then, obviously they did in Shining Fates and stuff like that. But they were underrated for only a very small amount of time. And I'm not in Scott Pratt's Patreon, and like I have my own personal reasons why I'm not in it. Just I think he's great at what he does, but E4 and like some of the I don't know. I felt like there was a little bit of gatekeeping that went on in E4, whether it was through like if you really get deep into E4, you'll see like a lot of the former threads, they've all been locked and they always get locked because they got out of hand. So anyways, that's why I'm not in his Patreon, just for like stupid reasons like that. But I know he made the video talking about Amazing Rares being undervalued, and they were undervalued until that video happened. And once that video happened, it kind of changed the landscape, but it changed the landscape in a weird way because they're not uncommon, right? And when I say they're not uncommon, is if you bust open a booster box of Vivid Voltage, you're probably going to pull 3 of them. And yeah, there's some awesome Pokemon cards, Pokemon characters in there, and definitely like Celebi being a big one, the Jirachi being a big one, and I don't know like what kind of art style, I like to call it like the more graffiti style like art where and yeah, they're not underrated anymore, and they're not rare. So what's going to happen in the long term? I think in the long term we'll see like that card in very high grades hold a premium, but any cards that are like 9 or less are really going to struggle. And CGC 5 or 9.5s versus 10s are probably not going to do great either. So that's my overall like opinion on a subset of a card like that that's not like crazy rare. Now, like the Pikachu, the hyper rare VMAX in that set, is it rare? It depends how you look at it. Like everything is it rare? Yeah, it's rare because it's tough to pull, but there's so much of the stuff being open. Like maybe it won't be super rare in the future, but try to read some of this. Hey, Basic Trainer, good to see you, bud. Yeah, I always enjoy seeing you on other videos too. Yeah, the memes in each video are top notch. Yeah, I would say my memes are like 70% I create, 30% I stole. And then I thought you look like Rudy from Alpha Investment. No, I don't have that crazy type of hair. 100% it's gatekeeping. He makes videos for the Penzance anytime. Singapore, yeah. And live open boxes. So I want to hear in this chat, what do you guys think of that video I made where I forget what the title of it was, like you should watch this video, where I pretty much made like the resealed box. Now I know some of you guys, caught on to what I'm doing in that video, but I would like to know the chat's thought. Like the first pack, opening up, obviously being Evolving Skies, but I don't know how many of you guys realized it. There was 10 reverse hollow from Skyridge and 1 hollow from Skyridge in that first pack. And I just wondered, like, are there a lot of people looking at this and saying, what the heck is going on? And, as I was making that pack, for that video, a lot of those Skyridge reverse hollows were like near mint. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just stupid. And originally when I was going to make that tin, I was going to put like actual packs in it. And I was like, yeah, I'll put like 1 EX Ruby Sapphire in that. I'll put 1 Skyridge pack in there, and then like I'll open the box and I'll open those packs. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This video is like going from being a $20 video with cards that I have lying around to being like a true pack opening video that's going to cost me like thousands of dollars. And I'm like, no, I need to like stop what I'm doing right now. But the only reason I made that video is because I just wanted to like let you guys understand, like, it's easy to make those packs look legit, even though they're not. And, I record all my videos pretty much on a potato, right? So for me to be able to do that, that video was recorded on my cell phone and I process it through like iMovie on my phone. So for me to make that video look realistic, for a real, big PokeTuber to open up packs, you can open up back-to-back evolutions pack and go, oh, look, I pulled the Charizard. Oh, here, I pulled the Charizard again. Like, I got super good luck. How many packs of evolutions have you guys probably opened and you never once pulled, the Charizard, let alone back-to-back? Like, that's almost impossible. But let's see. I feel like you're careful who you buy from. Yeah, resale product is rare. Yeah, resale product is rare. That wasn't really like the purpose of that video. It wasn't like a training on like how to spot resealed. And the problem with a good resale is if it's a good resale, you might never know it was resealed. And that's a tricky thing. And people always ask like, how do you know how to tell what to look for? And like the worst advice you can give somebody, but it's also the best advice, is you gotta like try resealing a pack yourself. And it's just terrible to say because when you look at the hobby and like the dangers of the hobby, like that's the big one, right? Is the scamming aspect. But if you reseal a pack yourself, you're gonna find out what to look for. And one of my, I want to say it was one of my first 2 or 3 videos, I made a video talking about like what to look for resealed packs. And I made a pack, and on the crimps, I literally like tried to do a good reseal and a bad reseal on the same pack. And that was probably like one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And there's people down in the comments writing like, that's the worst reseal I've ever seen. And I'm like, no, like you don't understand how hard it is to reseal a pack and make it look good and bad at the same time. It actually like took some effort. But yeah, like, and with PokeTubers too, like when you open up packs, like it's just so easy to show the cards when it's not like a true representation of your pull rates for the set. So that's what I was trying to go for there. Yeah, pretty potential damage. Yeah, a lot of those cards were like light play, except for the Skyridge cards. Let's see, basic trainer. Yeah, talking about Pokegale. Yeah, I think she's going to be back making some videos. For the EX era, what is today's equivalent pull of the EX card? Like, I don't really understand like the question. Like VMAXs, like I don't understand what you mean by that. Favorite Raichu card? It's got to be just base set Raichu. And if you guys have watched that video in the past, I explained to you guys like my backstory with the Raichu is that when I was younger, I just never got to pull it. And because I never got to pull it, it was always my chase card. And I just never had the chance. I tried trading for it. My buddy at the time realized that I wanted that card super bad, so it just made him less, less incentivized to want to trade it to me. And when I got back into the hobby in late 2012, that was a card that I just acquired. And it wasn't really like any reason other than just to have the card that I never had and I always wanted as a kid. So, ever gonna do a video of your collection? Yeah, I thought about it. My collection is very poorly displayed. My collection is a lot of it's like in cardboard boxes. It's not like it's not as if I can just open up like a giant cabinet. Like I have a very old journal style book, like something you would have used in literally like English class, like one of those black and white journal books. And each page has like box one, and then in box one, it's all the contents of that box. And then on just like a big cardboard box is like a little piece of paper that says one on it. And then in that is box one. And then box two is another sheet of paper, and it's all the contents of it in box three. And then it's just like, it's not like, it wouldn't be easy to show my collection. And like that's pretty much that for the answer to that question. EX card pull rates similar to today's secret rares? No. Today's secret rares are much harder to pull, but everything's relative, right? Like, yeah, secret rare today much harder to pull because yeah, maybe they're one out of like 200 packs, one out of 300 packs, one out of 250. Every card's different. Back then, it wasn't like that. You know, you didn't have to crack 200 packs to get a secret rare. So in relative to the amount of packs, like even look at like a gold star, right? Gold star is one out of every 72 packs. So yeah, you have to crack 2 booster boxes, you know. So it's a very different type of what are the pull rates similar? It's not the same. It's the amount of product being opened today for any set versus like any of these old EX sets are just so different. So yeah, so like to talk about pull rates, it's not really the same. Yeah, hearing the voice with "There's some stranger" set up an awesome meme. What do you guys? Do any guys have like a favorite meme that you've seen? Some of them are, I know, a little outlandish. I always like when I'm making a meme. Like, there's a lot of like the inappropriate ones I want to make too, the ones that like kind of skirt the edge of, you know, being allowed on YouTube. And what kept you from filming yourself before? My wife. That's pretty much it. Me and my wife talked about it actually pretty lot. Like the pros and cons of it. Like, this isn't my full-time job. Like, this isn't how I make money or anything. Like, I have a career, I have a life, and I guess it's just a matter of like keeping what I do as a hobby separate. Well, the reason why I made this channel in the first place was a couple things. One, it was 2020. We were like in the heat of the pandemic. But number two, like I have a lot of passion for the hobby. I've always had a lot of passion. I really like love the hobby. But I saw so many like dangerous things happening. I saw a lot of things happen really quickly too, you know. And definitely like one of the very first things that I saw happen was like pack breakers and pack breaker prices. And like, yeah, it was a very fun, like especially during quarantine to see a lot of this stuff opened. It was exciting. And seeing the prices of how quick everything went up. And you think about like base set first edition and Logan Paul and stuff, like, yeah, that was, you know, the real catalyst maybe where pack prices just went crazy. And it really shows you like how quickly the hobby can change, because I forget what those packs sold for. They sold for like $11,111. So maybe I do remember, but that price for that pack was like almost a 5x of what those packs are selling for, you know? So but that pack came with so much other stuff too. And like, I'm not stupid. Like, I understand like a lot of these PokeTubers look at like a Randolph or something, you know, he had a decent subscriber count, but after he was featured on Logan Paul's video, like his channel just exploded. So there was a lot of like, I don't know, stuff built into the price of that pack, you know, and just getting your name out there and all the stuff that comes with it. But now when you start building in a 5x dollar amount to every single pack of every single set, no matter what it is, it just is like this super dangerous, super slippery slope. And like that was the first, you know, so I saw all this happening, but then like seeing people pay well above MSRP. And in the comments, one of the people asked a question like, you know, it's almost, I want to read the question exactly how he wrote it, talking about like paying over MSRP for product, but almost like called it like an elitist way. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm not seeing it. Okay, here we go. A. Van Hoor wrote, this is about 6 hours ago. He said, "What are your thoughts on buying above MSRP? I collect just for fun, not to invest, but the community has been so toxic about buying everything for MSRP. Obviously, everyone like to, but it's elitist and unfair to say you can't get a set for, if you can't get a set for our MSRP, you shouldn't participate in the set. What are your thoughts?" So to say it's elitist, I think that's a little dangerous. And the reason why I say it's dangerous is because people aren't telling you to not buy a pack above MSRP for any other reason than a warning. The warning is, if you pay above MSRP, you open yourself up to so much risk when it comes to modern. And yeah, the way we are now with the way the Pokemon hobby has moved and has always really moved, it's always been an investment. But to already price in like a substantial amount of your returns instantly, you just open yourself up for a long road ahead of you. And like a good example is Shining Fates. Man, Shining Fates ETBs, I saw some people doing pre-orders for like $120. And so yeah, to say to people like, don't do this stuff, and you're gonna get hurt. You eventually Pokemon will print some of this stuff, and given enough time, you'll be able to pick it up at MSRP, whether it's through Pokemon Center or your Walmarts or your Targets of the world. Like, and yeah, you pick it up at $49.99 versus $120. You know, so like that's what we're trying to do. So to say it's elitist and like to say you shouldn't buy anything, there's just so much risk you take on with that. And the last product I bought over MSRP was, out of all products, I was talking to Australian Blasters about this, was like one Meowth V box or VMAX box, because it had 2 Cosmic Eclipse pack and I think 1 Unified Minds and 1 Evolutions pack. I paid $40. And for me, I was like, all right, like I'm done paying over MSRP for anything. And I really don't, but like that was the last product I bought. And talking about like Chill and Rain, Evolving Skies recently, Celebrations, all this stuff is available at pre-orders. Like when I did my very first community post, it was talking about the Chill and Rain pre-orders for Pokemon Center ETBs. And I've talked about this in other videos. You guys already know, like I didn't realize how many people weren't familiar with like the ability to quickly access this information. And the only way I get this information is I have like a separate Twitter account that I have notifications on for like certain Twitter accounts that just drop Pokemon products at MSRP, whether it's Best Buy or Target or Pokemon Center. Like obviously you can't keep track of that stuff 9 or 24 hours a day. It's just impossible. But to get a notification, let somebody else do the legwork for you, like definitely recommend just doing it that way. I follow like Pokemon TCG Drops is one of the guys I listen to. Let's see. Do you think we'll ever see another increase in prices all around in the Pokemon TCG hobby as holidays approach? Yeah, we will. We're definitely like Celebrations, Evolving Skies. Now, will we see like the increase for vintage stuff? Probably not, because you got to think like the prices at holidays, a lot of the price is probably people buying for their kids or for other people. And they're probably not going to go back to like more of the vintage stuff. And kind of to talk a little bit more on Matt's question too, talking about vintage stuff. He had asked about 2016 and Evolutions in 2016. My initial thoughts was, one, I was excited about it because I was going to get to see a base set Raichu being reprinted. But I thought that the set itself was going to just be an absolutely terrible investment. And the reason why was because in 2016, base set Unlimited cards didn't have much value at all. Raw base set Shadowless cards had like no value to them. Base set 2 cards, nobody wanted to buy any base set 2 cards. And even legendary collections, people really didn't want to pick up any of the commons, uncommons. And So when I saw Evolutions, being the set that it was going to be and getting like this new reprint, I was just like, man, this set will age terribly, because if nobody wants base set 2 and nobody wants unlimited base set and nobody wants legendary collections, there is no way that this set does good in the long term. And when we saw prices increase to like $1,000, $700, $600, it was just, I was wrong. You look at what Evolution's booster boxes are doing right now, it's crazy. Now, like even base set 2 in 2016 was like the poor man's vintage pack. Like if you wanted a cheap pack of vintage cards, you would just get base set 2 because nobody wanted it. But yeah, so that's kind of just talk a little bit more too about Matt's question. Basic trainer, yeah, I preach don't spend a penny above MSRP. That's because I'm thinking about the hobby versus my family. Yeah, teach my kids, yeah, self-restraint too. And I think that's it too. It's that FOMO. And I've talked about it in other videos and, touch base on it here too. But when you buy stuff above MSRP, you're not just opening yourself up for risk, but I see like that FOMO where people are paying these over MSRP prices as an investment. And I can see the argument and I can understand the argument where somebody's like, well, I just want to open stuff now. I'm super excited about this set and I'm okay with spending $20 over. I don't want to have my cards graded. I just want to put them in my binders and I want to have them now. And okay, fine, I get that. But the people that go and buy sealed product and they're like, okay, now I'm going to put it away for 5 years. It's like, that's why you don't pay over MSRP for that type of stuff. But yeah, basic trainers, right. I've never seen the Marnie milk carton for $40. You probably never will. There's definitely been some releases, like perfect example was Pokemon Center. Everybody said Pokemon Center is not going to have Marnie milk cartons. And then all of a sudden, Pokemon Center had Marnie milk cartons. They sold out instantly, but yeah. Do you think there will be Black Friday sales for Pokemon cards? No. There will be possibly like another Black Friday set, kind of like we saw with the Jirachi box from Walmart, which was awesome. I think that box is like $20, had an absolutely insane amount of packs in it. But no, I think that right now, currently, the days of Pokemon cards on clearance, we're not going to see that come back, like at least this holiday season. Historically, sales slow down, which caused prices to go down, but maybe this year, because of all the attention, many people will be getting Pokemon for, yeah, saw that last year too. You're also conditioning yourself to accept it. Yeah, basic trainer, that's a great point. So it's that condition where you trick yourself into believing that if you're paying over MSRP for a product, like everyone's doing it, so it's okay for you to do it. Or you start to trick yourself into like this line I hear a lot of people say all the time is like, well, I can't get product ever. And it's like, what product are you describing? Like, I just bought like Stadium for Evolving Skies. It was on Pokemon Center. Like, I just got it at MSRP. I was able to get 4 Celebrations Pokemon Center pre-releases at MSRP. I went to GameStop, got my pre-orders in, got them for MSRP. Yeah, what was it? The Chill and Rain pre-orders for GameStop stunk, but I was able to do in-store pre-orders for Battle Styles at GameStop. ETBs at MSRP. Battle Styles, I got my pre-orders in for $92.50. I got one in a subscription box for $95. Yeah, when prices for Battle Styles dropped to $85 and everybody was crying like the sky was falling, the world was ending, I'm sitting back, I'm like, okay, like I'm down $7.50 in this Battle Styles booster box. Like, what is $7.50? Is that the world ending? Like, now I have to liquidate my entire, supply of, no, when you pick up stuff super cheap, like you could take more risk. And I know right now too is the amount of product people are buying is just so drastic compare it to any other time. But do you think my wife leaving me is okay? Yeah, no, Jasper, sorry, bud. Man, I need you guys drop in those times. Yeah. Do you think there will be a major decline next year? The capital gain starts in a few months. I predict a bunch of basement scalpers will quit. No, I think because with eBay sending out 1099s, is people just ignore them. Now, is that a good thing to do? No, that's probably like absolutely terrible thing. But when we make it sound like paying taxes is a new thing, it's not a new thing. Like for eBay, when you used to hit $20,000 in sales and they could send you a 1099, but it was just so easy to literally have 2 eBay accounts or 3 eBay accounts, so you never hit like 20,000 in each one if you even knew that was a thing. No one ever paid their taxes for that 0 to $19,999. So do I see like everybody out there like doing what they've always should have been doing, which is paying their taxes? Because there's only 2 truths in life. Well, 3 truths in life. 1, death. 2, taxes. And number 3, I'm going to put an S at the end of chill and rain every single time and make it chill and rain. So that's the 3 guarantees in life. Now, as for major decline next year, right now, no. And the reason why is because, and I've said it before, Pokemon, first of all, they just have so much they can throw out there. If they could reprint anything, they could just put Charizards in sets. They could put Pikachus in sets. You know, the next set we have a Mew and Mewtwo. Like, yeah, everybody talked about Evolving Skies and having Dragon Pokemon and evolutions and how everyone's an, evolution fan and everybody has their favorite evolution. Guess what? Like, there's a lot of people out there that are Mewtwo fans. So I don't see the drop happening quickly. I think what would really like pull it out or pull a lot of like, I don't know, the steam out of it is we could start to see the single prices dropping more. You know, like for Evolving Skies, a lot of these chase cards, like the Plaza and the Umbreon, those cards demanding such high prices makes me think like, one, I never thought we would see that, because they're too common to have like $400, $300, $200 price tags on it. Like, especially, pretty late after release. Now, that will be what ends up killing Pokemon, is if eventually the expected value for raw cards diminishes to 0. Because right now, with PSA closed, we're not going to see like that premium. But I don't know, it's tricky to say that there's going to be a decline in the next year. And, like, so talking about PSA and talking about CGC, like, we all talked about like what's going to really kill the market. And everybody said like the junk slab era, the bulk slab era. And, me personally, I hate the word junk slab. I always use the word bulk slab because everyone said modern. Modern will kill Pokemon because all this modern stuff will get graded. But PSA prices have just recently dropped to $150 a card. Like, for modern cards, there's not a lot of cards that have graded at $150. You could talk maybe 1 or 2 out of a set, and even then you're cutting into so much of your profit. Now, to go to CGC, everybody talks about CGC being like, yeah, that great alternative. But at the end of the day, CGC cards do not hold a premium. And not only do they not hold a premium, it's not even close. When you look at like a lot of CGC 9.5s, they don't hold anything compared to a PSA 10. And whether or not that card stripped down, pulled back, is exactly the same as a PSA 10, or most of the time, or I shouldn't say most of the time, some of the times better, their price difference is just so drastic. So when you look at, okay, well, where's CGC at right now? Well, they're $15 a card for both, and another $10 on top of that for subgrades, you're looking at $25 a card. That just, so you got PSA, your high-end cards at that 150. Now you shrink down your set to, okay, what's worth it to be graded at $25? And then, okay, if you want your cards back within like a year or whatever, because right now CGC times, I've talked about it before, and like I'm very not upset with PS or CGC. I think they're full of shit. And the reason why I say they're full of shit is because their turnaround times are just not a true representation of what's actually going on. And I showed you guys screenshots where I've gotten bulk returns back before economy returns submitted on the same day. Economy, you pay that extra money to get it back quicker, and I just didn't. Then, like, I just got a return back from February 17th. What is it? I actually haven't got it mailed back to me, but it's in transit right now. It's September 11th. So that's just about 5 months. It took me from July 15th to get a return from February 10th. I got that return back on July 15th. I'm still waiting on my other return from February 17th. So it's only a 7-day difference, and it literally took months to get that back. So who knows what's actually going to go on with CGC. Let's see, you can say Booyah. That and the fact you can not get their highest grade without paying for subgrades. Yeah, that's just, I've talked about this in other videos, that paywall. So if you guys don't know what you say Booyah is talking about, is CGC has 2 10s. They have the CGC Pristine 10 and they have the CGC Perfect 10. So what the Pristine 10 is you have 4 subgrades that add up to a 10, but they're not all 10s. So you can have like a 9.5 and 3 10s. So you get that Pristine 10. Now a Perfect 10 is very similar to like a BGS Black Label, where it's 10 for centering, 10 for corners, 10 for surfaces, and 10 for edges. So like that's your Perfect 10. And we've actually already seen it now one time that I know of, where we saw a Charizard cross-graded that was a CGC Perfect 10 got cross-graded to a Beckett Black Label 10. So I'm not talking like poorly on CGC's grading scales at high end, but what's going to happen is when you put that behind a paywall, it's just not fair to the customer. And like for Beckett, if you have a card that is a true Black Label and you don't pay for subgrades, Beckett will give you those subgrades for free. You don't have to pay for them, because that card is such an outlier for all cards. And we all know how Black Labels work and how Perfect 10s work. Like, you can have 100 cards and none of them will be a true Beckett Black Label or true CGC Perfect 10, and they could be 100 of the same cards because they are that rare. So for CGC to now have something that is so rare, so hard to get, and not give it to you for free, is just questions like the whole business model of what they're doing. And it's a shame. It's a shame not just to them as a company, but it's a shame to us as their clients. And because that's what we are, right? We're the clients. We're paying them to perform a service for us. And it's just like any job you guys work at, somebody comes in and requests your service and requests you to do some work for them. If you say, well, I know you're paying for me to do this job, but I'm just going to let you know right now that it's going to cost you a little bit more money for me to actually do my job the best that I can. So that's kind of like CGC as a whole. Yeah, and then also, yeah, you said Booyah too. He said, admitting they spend longer to grade with subgrades. Yeah, look, who knows what that means? That was the most dangerous comment that just got pushed under the rug ever. Can you imagine they said that they have to spend 3 to 4 times longer grading on cards with subgrades opposed to without? And I said in other videos, there's no way. It's literally impossible to get that grade on your card, whether they're subgrades or not, to not have those 4 categories have grades assigned to them. So it just makes you wonder, like, if they're not like spending a lot of time on my cards, what am I paying for? And the reason why I say, well, it's like, what are you paying for? And everybody says, well, you should pay the extra and get subgrades. No, you shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't get a different quality of service just because you don't have subgrades. Like, you should still get the same level of service because you as a client, you do not dictate the prices for bulk or economy. So to say that the price for bulk is $15 a card and you don't deserve the amount of effort to give your card a fair grade because you didn't pay enough money, it's not fair because you don't dictate the prices that CGC charges. So yeah, it's just, that's a weird thing. Good luck on your subs. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Charizard Chaser love his channel. Not to get political, but I heard by, oh God. I am trying to stay out of politics. I can't even read the rest of this. I'm staying out of it. I don't know about Crimson Invasion, but Battle Styles for the Moon. Listen, one of my most successful videos on this channel, and actually the reason I monetized this channel was because I made a video talking about Battle Styles before it was released. It had not officially been released yet. You know, building battle boxes were out at the time, but the actual set wasn't out. And I made a video pretty much saying, wait to open Battle Styles. And the whole thing I said in that video was, I believed that Battle Styles was going to be the first set that we ever saw on the shelves. And it was going to be the first set that wasn't going to have a strong demand. So I was saying to people, wait to open your product because it's more likely than not that we would see a retrace in prices of Battle Styles. And the reason why that channel monetized my channel was because it was the first first video I ever had to break 10,000 views. So I went back and I said, well, let me watch this video. I want to see, like, okay, like what was special about this video. And when I clicked on it, an ad started playing. And my channel wasn't monetized. And I was like, well, if ads are going to be playing on my videos, whether I put monetization on or not, I might as well turn on monetization. So that's what that was. But anyways, back to like that Battle Styles to the Moon kind of thing. In order for sets to become popular, they need to almost not be popular. As weird as that is to say, you need people to like either open stuff, think it's cheap, reduce positions, pull back their positions. And yeah, like that's the type of stuff that Rudy from Alpha Investment talks about all the time. That's why he's always trying to buy like a lot of this product. Yeah, you know, the prices he's willing to buy stuff at is far below market value. And I think a lot of it is just more him flexing than anything else. But you know, you have a set like Battle Styles, and I've talked about it before. Yeah, people talk about it as being printed to be or print to demand and stuff like this. But Battle Styles is probably going to be the least likely set for Pokemon to ever want to go back and reprint. Because I've talked about it before. You look at the sets that just surrounds Battle Styles. You got Shine and Fates, which is just a subset, but you have Vivid Voltage, which we had a reprint, and we never really saw prices retrace past that $120 mark. Vivid Voltage booster boxes really held strong at 120. And then after that, you had Chill and Rain, which is a strong set, but then Evolving Skies and Celebrations. If you're a Pokemon company and you're sitting in your boardroom in your corporate office and you're looking around saying, okay, what set do we need to have reprinted? Probably a lot of people aren't going to raise their hand and say, well, I think Battle Style reprinted. Probably a lot of people aren't going to raise their hand and say, well, I think Battle Styles is a set to reprint. You know, we still haven't seen a reprint of Rebel Clash. Now, will Rebel Clash tank if it gets reprinted? Yeah, probably. Will Sword and Shield, did we ever see a recent reprint of Sword and Shield? No. But if they reprint Sword and Shield, it's probably going to tank. So, and I've talked about this before in other videos, the future is not in sets. It's in different products. So I think if Pokemon wanted, they would have to just start focusing on different products. Like, how can we reprint Rebel Clash and people will want to buy it? Well, people probably won't want to buy it in, single pack blisters. But if we could reprint like a small wave of Rebel Clash ETBs on top of a small reprint of Rebel Clash booster boxes, like combine the two and really kind of ignore everything else, there's probably a couple people still, for whatever reason, have their sealed ETB collection. They were never able to pick up Rebel Clash. Maybe we'll add some of those, add some booster boxes, but it's like this slippery slope for some of these products. Now, that's why I say they'll never reprint Battle Styles, in my opinion. It's just going to be the set that time forgot. But given enough time, people will go back. And we live in a time right now in the Pokemon hobby, and I've talked about it before, where people are now looking at Modern differently. You know, before, yeah, Modern, you always had like your chase cards, and the people wanted to acquire some of it, but people weren't really like getting as emotionally involved or emotionally invested or financially invested in, understanding the sets, understanding the cards. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there can tell me what the chase cards are for Evolving Skies, Chill and Rain, Battle Styles, Vivid Voltage, Champions Path. Actually, that's an easy one. Champions Path, Shining Fates, Darkness Ablaze, Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield. I bet you guys could tell me every single chase card of that set. But if I asked you guys, tell me the chase card of EX Ruby Sapphire. Tell me the, chase card for Black and White Dark Explorers. Tell me the chase card for, I don't know, EX Dragon. Tell me the chase card for, maybe Stormfront, that's an easy one, or Diamond and Pearl base. Like, tell me what the chase cards of those sets are. You guys are probably going to go, well, I don't know what the chase card of Diamond and Pearl base is. Or you're going to say, I don't know what the chase card of EX Dragon is. Well, maybe it's the Dragonite, maybe it's Rayquaza, maybe it's the secret rare Charmander, the secret rare Charmeleon, or the secret rare Charizard for EX Dragon, or, for EX Ruby and Sapphire. It's like, you guys just don't know this stuff, or you just don't care. But that makes sense. But like, my point is you now know these chase cards because you're so familiar with these sets. Like, you're just becoming like different type of collectors. And that's that weird thing too, is where there was always like this gatekeeping of vintage cards. Now there's like a gatekeeping of Modern, but the people who are gatekeeping Modern are the new collectors. It's just this weird thing going on. And you think about it, like, how are new collectors gatekeeping Modern? Well, they're gatekeeping Modern because they see something in Modern that other people don't see. So somebody, maybe like you or somebody like me who would like to acquire some Modern and not like have huge positions in it, but want to pick up like relatively cheap booster boxes or relatively cheap ETBs or relatively cheap chase cards, just not even to fill out binder sets, just to have the card. You're making it very hard on us. And it's because you're now equating like this crazy amount of value to this. And it's just, the landscape is changing. And that's why, to go back to what I'm saying, like, the knowledge of Modern is so much different. And when you think about like, why when everybody gets back into the hobby, or why does everybody talk about, just base set or jungle or fossil? It's because those most likely were the sets that you're most familiar with. Like, I wish I had Pokemon cards here, but like, I could pull a base set Charmander, a base set Bulbasaur, or a base set, I don't know, Alakazam, or a base set Raichu, or a base set Ninetales, or a base set, Bill, Imposter Professor Oak. We could just pull out like trainer cards, commons. I could pull out the Dugong, like an uncommon. I could pull out any card. I could probably pull out a Shadowless energy card. And if I held it up and you can see the date that it has 4 dates on it instead of 3, you could probably recognize that energy card as being Shadowless. So you have like this ton of knowledge and ton of like hype and interest in this base set. And that's why you want to flock to vintage, and you work your way out of base set and get a little bit like older, but still within sets that you're not super familiar with, like those, you know, EX era sets. But now you have a guy or a new person, you can pull out some, you know, I don't know, Urshivu VMAX, and he could tell you, oh, that came, you know, what number of card that is, you know, was that card in an alternative art? Like, what were the secret rares of the set? Like, they know that stuff. It's just, the landscape has changed. And I feel a lot of people just don't want to admit that. And more often than not, I don't want to admit that either. And because it's easy, right? It's much easier to gatekeep vintage or acquire knowledge that is, while readily available, a lot of people don't want to spend the time to research that stuff. So you instantly want to like equate like a ton of value to these older sets because of that rarity and that scarcity factor of it. And you believe because that card is rare and because that card is scarce, people will also want to have like the same sort of thought process to that. But it's just, it's not like that all the time. And I don't know. All right. I could tell you most except black and white error sets. I never collected those. Yeah. Nice choices on the Japanese boxes. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, chill. Thanks a lot. I always appreciate you guys commenting. You guys could go down below, pause this video, and hit the like button. That helped me out a lot. A half rainbow, half gold Charizard. I don't want to see any more Charizard cards, at least not for the, you know, time, at least for any time in the near future. And the reason why is because I think sets could shine without Charizards. And rainbow cards, number one, I'm not a huge fan of because I think they display so poorly. And they display poorly is because from a distance, if I had a, you know, Charizard, you know, rainbow rare on my wall, you probably wouldn't know what it was. One, because my camera on my computer is a potato, but if I pulled that card, I'd probably have to get it this close for you to like see what it was. So I think they display very poorly. But anyways, back to the whole Charizard thing. Like Charizards will always be the chase card. They'll always be the most expensive one, but I don't know. I want to see like a good Green Ninja card. Yeah, we're getting like a Green Ninja Gold Star in the celebrations, ETBs, but I don't know. I saw a question somebody asked for the Q&A too, is talking about, do I see like these reprints hurting the prices for any of these older cards? No, if anything, it will possibly do it will have the complete opposite effect where, you know, having more eyes on this vintage stuff is a good thing. And that's what I've found out is one of the harder things to do is talk about vintage cards and talk about them with excitement if people are not familiar with them. So if people start to pull these cards and, you know, say, oh, okay, like this is a level X card, this is a prime card, this is, you know, oh, this is a chase card. Why is this card? Why did Pokemon decide to reprint this for the 25th anniversary and celebrations? Like, let me spend 5 minutes and go on Bulbapedia and learn about this card. And oh, now I know about this card. Like, this card interests me. I want to learn about this card, and you start going that way. So yeah, that could help, but I don't see it hurting the prices anyway. Thoughts on sealed modern product? Sealed modern product, get it at MSRP. I think you'll do far better off than you will without MSRP, and we already talked about it in this video. I think sealed modern product, the future is in individual products. It's not in individual sets. It's in individual products. And a lot of those products, you're going to come to find out, are going to have good promos in it. And I think that will probably carry a lot of like the more expensive, you know, sets. Like Champion's Path. Champion's Path, yeah, people said it was a poor set. It had the 2 chase Charizards and nothing else. But it had the Charizard V promo. And when people look back on Champion's Path, like that will be the product that's going to hold the highest premium. Now, is I don't know, what the Hackney or whatever, the collection boxes for Champion's Path, are those going to hold any sort of premium to them the same way an ETB will with that Charizard promo? No. You know, you look at Hidden Fates. What are your 2 big products of Hidden Fates? Well, you have the premium collection box, but let's ignore that because the Rayquaza, that was tougher to get your hands on in the first place. They're very hard to store because they're boxy. But besides that, your 2 big products for Hidden Fates, you have ETBs, you got, the stained glass birds as your promo card in that, and then all the tins, then your Charizard tins. Yeah, you have the Charizard, the Gyarados, the Raichu tin, but that Charizard tin will always carry a little bit more of a premium than the Gyarados or the Raichu tin just because of that Charizard. And it's going to be like that for a ton of different products through a ton of different sets. And you can spend a long time looking at each set. I think in one of my videos, I forget which one it was. It was Breakpoint or Breakthrough. I want to say Breakpoint, but the single pack check lane blister. I think it had like 2 different promos in it, but one of them was the Pikachu. And those check lane blisters sell for a lot of money. Or think about like the Team Up check lane blisters. Team Up, yeah, we saw huge price increases for like Team Up booster boxes. But that Team Up check lane blister that had the Mimikyu and the Pikachu, like that product carries such a high premium to it. Like, I think that will be what we talk about in the future. We will always talk about products and not really so much the sets. But let's see. What are your thoughts on the card economist starting his own grading company? He says he's going to start by October. Do you think? Everyone has a card grading company at this point. I mean, I made that video talking about Randolph's grading card company. The way they pushed that out was one of the most bizarre things I have ever watched, because that Umbreon from Fates Collide having the date of 2019 on it. It should have been 2016. Crazy. Like, that is next level poor marketing. Like, who was the person? How did it make it, like, from whoever slabbed that card to final production of that video? Because all his production videos are well produced. Like, how the heck did it make it to that? But going back to the question, what was a card economist having his own grading service? That would probably just be a money grab at that point. I don't know what his background is for cards. It sounds like a money grab. It sounds like a scam. Any new grading card company could be a money grab. And I had a video, one of the very first videos on my channel was I did a video where I did 1 submission it was 2 submissions to GMA. And the reason why I did a submission to GMA was just because it had 20-day true turnaround times. And I had bought a collection and I just wanted to instantly liquidate that collection as fast as I could with any sort of premium, because it was a lot of it was a couple Shadowless, Unlimited, and like some base set hollows, but they were all like, a lot of them, I think I got like 1.9 out of the entire lot. So they were all below grade 9. And the market in November was just crazy. And when I sold those cards, yeah, I sold them for far less of a premium than I would for like any other grading card company, especially PSA. But I literally heard from so many people talk about GMA as being like this scam company and how you could submit cards to them and that you could assign your own grades. Like, the way the information had been playing a game of telephone was so poor, and like that company had been around since I think 2007. GMA was established. Like people shit all over GMA, and I literally cracked a slab for a red cheek shadowless Pikachu that they graded a 7.5, and I resubmitted it to CGC and got an 8.5. I think I made a video for that too. I said this is going to break the video, pretty much saying like what you guys think is the hobby. When you think like this graded, red cheeks shadowless Pikachu that's graded a 7.5, no one is going to pay me the same amount of money as this shadowless red cheek Pikachu that's an 8.5 for CGC, but they're the same card. There's no difference in the card. So with just grading in general in that way, it would be very interesting to see how people, I don't know, just accept different card grading companies in the future. But when PSA opens back up and they work their way through their backlog, and assuming that they could somehow get their prices down, CGC is going to be, or sorry, PSA is going to be king. PSA doesn't have the best slab. They don't have the best label. They probably don't have the best employees. They don't have the strictest grading scale. But the market dictates what prices for cards are going to be. And there's nothing that will ever change the fact that PSA will be the top dog when it comes to prices. And there's just no change in that. I know, I guess I'm all over the place. This is weird reading this and just kind of talking. When I do my videos and I record them, I don't like have a script or anything, but I at least have like bullet points so I don't just go off on these absolutely stupid tangents, which I'm doing. What's your take on Metazoo overall? I have zero take. I have never owned a Metazoo card. I've never held a Metazoo card in my hand. I think the thought of cryptics is very weird. Like you could already like foresee chase cards in the future. Like somebody's going to pull the Loch Ness Monster and that's going to be like the chase card of some set in the future, or I don't even know, it's the Chupacabra card or whatever. Like Metazoo is it's not a player's game. It's not about collectors. In my opinion, from what I've seen, keep in mind, I know almost nothing about Metazoo, is that it looks like just a sealed product play. It doesn't look like anything other than a sealed product play. And this is coming from somebody that hasn't spent any time researching what like Kickstarter raw cards sell for, first edition cards raw sell for. But I want to say that the price is probably not even close to what the sealed product is bringing in. And I don't know what the return on your investment, if you did crack like a Kickstarter booster box, maybe it's equivalent, but what are prices creeping up to now? I think they're like getting close to 5 digits, like that 10 G's mark. That's insane. So I don't know. I just probably stay away from Metazoo for the near term. But then again, if they want to send me some free product, I give it a look. But they're not going to do that, not for this channel. Yeah, Metazoo is going to flop if the players can't afford to play casually. Yeah, if you listen to the way it's set up too, like it's set up. Everybody says, well, it's set up for both the collector and the investor because they're doing limited print runs. They're knowing exactly how much the print run's going to be. That's not for the collector. Or sorry, that's not for the player. That's just for the collector and the investor. It's not for the player. And when you take away like the player aspect of a game, you're just going to play this game of I sell it to you, you sell it to him, and hopefully you keep making money on the way up and you don't just get totally burned on this stuff. Imagine if alternative arts are a sword and shield thing only. Nah, I think alternative arts is the way of the future. Finally got my submission back from CGC and thought they were a little too strict in around 6 self-pull modern cards got one 9.5. That's bad. I sent a little over 100 McDonald's cards right before, it was like right before CGC had increased their prices, so it was still at like that $7.20. It was like right at the cusp, and I was like, these cards are probably never going to be worth very much. So the only way these McDonald cards are going to have a premium is if I get them graded by CGC at this low dollar amount. So that's what I did, and I just got that return back, and I got very few 9.5s. And a very interesting thing that CGC is doing too is CGC is very strict when it comes to non-holo cards. My holo cards for CGC are grading much better than the non-holo, which doesn't make sense because you expect a non-holo card for, at least for surface, yeah, corners, edges, and centering, those are going to be the same. But the fact that the non-holos graded by CGC are grading so much poorer than holos just is a little counterintuitive for how you would expect. You know, you always expect, if I had a holo and a non-holo of the same card, you expect that non-holo to get a better grade the majority of the time. But what my experience with CGC is that holo majority gets the better grade. CGC is super interesting. Am I going to Collecticon in Houston next month? No, I'm not. I live up in New England, so it'd just be too much. Plus, I got the new baby at home. Where do you see Zamazenta Trainer Box in the next 5 years? I think if you get it at MSRP, put it on your shelf. You know, that's not a. It's just the box at that point. Yeah, you get the promo card in it, but you know, not being like a single set, it's going to really just be for the artwork. And the people that are going to want that box, in my opinion, in the future would just be sealed product collectors. It's not going to be anybody looking for that box to get a couple, you know, Sword and Shield and Vivid Voltage and Darkness Ablaze packs out of it. So your price for that will be in the sealed product. It will not be in. I want to open it, put it that way. Hey mate, I would love if you and Bulba Squad did some sort of collab someday. Like how you guys give. Yeah, I don't know Bulba Squad. I'm not opposed to it though. He started right around the same time as me, so you know I got tons of respect for anybody that you know tries to do this like YouTube game. And you know he talked behind the camera way before I did too, so it makes a big difference. And yeah, it's a lot of Korean Pokemon. Can I ask you guys a question? Is somebody hyping Korean Pokemon, or is this like a very like grassroots thing? Is this like true demand? Because I've seen Korean Pokemon be talked about a lot lately, and it's just, it doesn't seem organic. It seems like this, am I missing something? You can let me know down in the comments, because I keep reading that in the comments talking about Korean Yu-Gi-Oh, or Korean Pokemon. What do you think about Shining Star V? You know, Shining Star V is funny, right? And that's because everyone said, you know, Shining Star V, Japanese sets, like, you don't see reprints of this stuff. And we not only did we see a reprint, we saw a reprint happen very quickly. So a lot of people, like, I don't know, they were wrong. And Japanese right now is just in such high demand. I'm sure it will drive down prices in the near term, but in the long term, you know, who knows? Yeah, okay. So yeah, Wood said Squeaks was talking about Korean Pokemon the other day. Yeah, it doesn't seem organic. With the exception of 2020, like even base set first edition Chinese cards, uh, like French cards, any of those cards, they just never had like strong secondary prices. And anything other than Japanese, I would be very nervous. I think that's just a very cheap play right now to go for Korean cards. And I would be worried if you're going to start investing in that. because there's probably somebody out there that is hyping this up because they have a relatively decent position in that. It just doesn't seem organic enough to me. Yeah, see, Korean tag team all-stars are so expensive. See, I'm just not familiar with the Korean market enough. One person mentioned it is not intending to pump it up, but then everyone mentions it and forms a pyramid very quickly, which makes everybody want it. Yeah, basic trainer, you're right in that sense. Like I did it inadvertently on this channel. So you guys remember I made that video probably a couple videos back where I took like the Mimikyu reverse from Cosmic Eclipse, the Charmander from Burning Shadows, reverse hollows, and I was just trying to give an example of like a card that I thought like how you could add a position to it, and I tried to like break it down very simple. And I was like, I don't want to manipulate the market in any way. So the only way I can not manipulate the market is take one uncommon and one common from very modern sets and like explain my thought process. And like some of the comments in that video were like, those are poor card choices, like all this stuff. And it's like, all right, that video missed its mark. So then when I did the Pikachu secret rare, like you can literally go on eBay right now, just type in Pikachu secret rare. I think it's 93 out of 92 is the card number, and look at sold listings. Go to August 9th when my video was released for that card. There's like no sales. August 9th, there's all these sales, and then below that there are no, there's like they're spotty, but it literally caused a buyout. Me trying not to do that because, and this is a very small channel. Keep in mind, this channel has like 2,000 subscribers, and out of the 2,000 subscribers, like how many people could actually afford to just go out and buy, a over $100 random card on a whim? You probably like shrink it down that much more. So to have that sort of buyout on, and I bet you that new price point for that Pikachu secret rare is probably like $200 ish, 220. Like that's the sell it price. I bet you could probably find one at like that 250, 240, and maybe it will sell over time. But like 200 is probably the new price point. The price point before that video was 150. So by this very small channel, we are able to sway the market on one single card, like a 33% probably lifetime gain on that card. So it's just something to think about. And keep in mind, this for PSA 9 prices. This isn't for like raw prices, but it's very easy to sway the market. And a lot of people don't realize that too about this market is you can have a card. Maybe that Pikachu's not a good example because it's a much rarer card. It was a box topper, and nobody's opening up that set anymore. So, but you can take a card that only has like X amount on the market, whether it's through eBay or TCG Player or whatever. It's not hard to buy up a card when there's only, say, 200 cards throughout all platforms. Yeah, maybe you could have a card that has like a population of 1,000 or a million of whatever, a million of those cards exist. But when the entire population available is only 200, it's very easy to quickly like change the price of that card. And then you'll often hear people, you always say, well, where did you get the prices for that card? They'll say, well, I looked at the last 2, I looked at the last 3, I looked at the last 4 recent sales on eBay, and that's what that card's selling at. So it's like so easy to manipulate this market. And you could do 2 things. You can manipulate it in a short term where everybody just sees those recent sales and then that's that new price point. Or you could inadvertently manipulate the market for the long term, where now going, from that point going on, that is just the new price point of that card. And you see that very often happen with like, I'm not going to get into it, but you see it happen with like some of the older trophy cards, how those cards really got popular, how that was a very small group of people pumping up trophy cards. And you know what, I'll sit back and tell you right now, like how they pumped up those trophy cards is, you could write a book about it. You can make a movie about it. Just definition, market manipulation. Because you're talking about some cards that have populations of like 1, 6, 30. They were able to take a card that has like a population of 6 and get a ton of eyes on it and make people who never wanted trophy cards want trophy cards. It could be a documentary someday on one of the greatest pump ups of any cards. And not only were they able to pump those prices up, they were able to keep those prices pumped up for a long time. And they were able, and anybody who talked poorly about those trophy cards and talked about like why those trophy cards maybe shouldn't be pumped up like this, because maybe not a lot of people care about trophy cards. It but it doesn't matter. See, that's the crazy thing. It doesn't matter now because trophy cards are now expensive. The prices of trophy cards, we're past that point, and that's the crazy thing. You can take a card, like I said, and manipulate prices in the short term, but to manipulate it for the long term, and that's where we are with trophy cards. Now, then it's so funny because then you'll hear people who have manipulated trophy cards in the past will look at like the Illustrator Pikachu, which is like the top tier of trophy cards. Whether there's more of those trophy cards than there are other trophy cards, you'll hear people now try to manipulate Illustrator Pikachu where it shouldn't be as valuable as it is, and that their trophy card should be worth more money because of, like this like crazy market manipulation. Or you'll hear about people like shit on cards forever and literally ignore their existence as if they do not exist realistically on the market. Raichu pre-release. Like, you could take a card like that and pretend like it literally doesn't exist until people buy it or you're the one that owns it. And once you're the one that owns it, that card starts to exist. But even on a very high end, people forget that sometimes cards are out of reach. And when cards are out of reach on like a very high end, and it's not even an end I'm on, like, even like a non-high or a different type of high-end card, like a Charizard First Edition. If I get a Charizard First Edition PSA 10, I wouldn't own that card. I would have sold that card because it's not like a very rare card and the price equated to that Charizard opposed to any other first edition, base set card is so detached from anything else in that set that I would want to sell that card and make money. But when you get to that very, very, very high end of those trophy cards, even with a ton of money, it's sometimes those cards get even unattainable for them. And the only way to make them attainable is to start to chip away at that and bring those cards down. But the market has just changed in 2020, 2021. Those cards, it's a weird too because it's a different type of investor. Probably most of the people in the chat, you talk about like what you're collecting, what you're investing. You're investing in modern cards, modern sets, modern booster boxes. Those aren't like crazy dollar amount stuff. So I don't know. It's crazy how the championship gold stars and such are expensive now. So I'm guessing it's crazy how the championship gold stars, I'm guessing you're talking about the world championship deck cards. Like you got the Mew Gold Star, 2008 Jolteon Gold Stars. Is that what you mean, Kingman? Because if you're talking about like those Gold Stars, the World Championship deck, I think that's what you mean by that comment. World Championship decks are just the poor man's Gold Stars, and I wouldn't say that they're crazy expensive because you can still pick up those decks like right now on eBay. for less than $100. So I was just following. I'll pull up my eBay watched items. I was watching one that sold the other day for not that much. Let's see, watching. And I think the one I was watching was the one that has the Jolteon gold star in it. Sorry. Maybe that was a bad idea watching my watch list on eBay, trying to pull up stuff. But it sold not too long ago for pretty cheap. So I would say that those decks, oh, here we go. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see. Nope, can't see that. Can you see that? $62. World Championship deck, sealed. Pokemon 2008 World Championship. The Cyclock deck sold for $62, and it sold very recently. And that has a Jolteon Gold Star in it. So no, Kingman, I wouldn't say those cards are crazy in price. Yeah, Chief Kane said he picked up one for $50, probably near mint. He could have bought a sealed deck for 62. So market manipulation. Blazer said he just bought two. That's not bad. That's reasonable. Is he paying 100 plus for the World Champions? World Championship cards is a weird. I wish I had my freaking return back. I literally have a Latios Gold Star graded World Championship. I think that was 2007 deck though. Was it Latios? Yeah, the Latios. The one from yeah, I think it's the Latios from the 2007. I just had it graded CGC, and I don't have it back yet, but I wish I could show you because it's a niche thing. They're non-hollows. The backs are weird. Latios is no. Oh yeah, 2007. Yep. So yeah, that's where it was. But they're just it's a niche thing. World Championship cards are a niche thing. I think people will start to get their eyes on them a little bit because they can attain these cards while still being, very vintage in a way, like 2007. And I don't know how many of the World Championship decks were even printed. I bet you it's like 1,000 or 2,000 of those decks were printed. It's not a lot, but it'll be hard to get eyes on them. Yeah. Do I have a favorite artist? Mine is one who drew the Bulbasaur from Expedition. Yeah, Praise in the Sun. Slowly trying to collect all their works. I don't know. I have a lot of different artists I like. I don't want to be like super cliche and say like I like Sugimori or I like Arita because they're the most famous, like to say you like Arita because he drew the Charizard, or to say you like Sugimori because he drew the Blastoise, like it's almost like cliche at this point. It's like if you like artists, you gotta like the newer artists, or you gotta like the more less known artists. But for me, it's just gotta be like the OG artworks because when I think of Charizard, I think of base set Charizard. If you were to ask me to think of one, artwork for Blastoise, yeah, I'm gonna think of base set Blastoise first. Can we go through like all the other ones, like Expedition Blastoise, amazing artwork. Yeah, but I'm just gonna go with those two. I recently quit putting prices on a lot of modern stuff and let my boy put all the good cards in a binder. They look good in that. Yeah, nothing's wrong with binder sets. Right now too with grading, it's expensive to have cards graded. A little off topic, but how do you think the proposed regulation of the IRS to the ability to track and audit you for, yeah, I talked about this earlier in the video. I just think people will just ignore it. I think the IRS will have bigger fish to fry, And the reason I say that is just because people weren't really paying taxes to, before, when there was that $20,000 limit. Maybe we'll be wrong. Maybe there'll just be a ton of people getting audited, but who knows? You guys should always be doing your 1099s anyways. Like, get yourself a decent accountant. Make sure you're keeping track of how much you're paying for all this stuff. And, I think most people in this hobby, at least right now, while they are selling, yes, they are also acquiring a lot. And I've never, in 2020, early 2021, I have never sold as much as I have, in that time period. But with that said, I've also never bought as much as I bought in that time, because I honestly believed that there was a lot of overvalued stuff, and I believed that there was a lot of undervalued stuff. So back to the tax question, like, yeah, I don't even know what kind of taxes I'll have to pay, if anything, with how much I bought. A lot of money going around. You're right. Right now in the hobby, the amount of money that's going around is stupid. It's a lot of dumb money. I don't know, and I hate to call it dumb money, but there's always kind of been like dumb money in this hobby in a way. And I've talked about this in other videos where like people were just forgiven for every stupid decision they ever made in this hobby. Like 2020 was that magical year that said, oh, you paid too much for this card in 2016. Don't worry, we got you. The pandemic's got you. Oh, you spent too much money on this card in 2018? Don't worry. Oh, you bought a Evolutions booster box for $200? Don't worry, we got you. Like, it was just that crazy forgiving year. So but with that said, like, there's a lot of dumb money now that people just think that that's going to continue to happen, that you make a poor decision, you made a bad purchase, don't worry, we got you, and they don't have you anymore. You're gonna get hurt a lot. You're probably gonna get burned. So just be very careful. Yeah, a lot of people. Oh God, a lot of people talking about taxes now. Any thoughts on other TCGs, Magic the Gathering, Weiss, Dragon Ball Z, Flesh and Blood? Not enough to talk about. I have my opinions on each one of them, but I just know so little bit to have anything that I tell you be worth it to you. There's a lot of other people out there that are way more familiar with it. Now, Flesh and Blood, like some of the cold foil cards and stuff like that, I do wish that when the hype was there at the very beginning and a lot of these sets were still being released, like, I wish I kind of bought some, but I would have not bought it as a player, and I wouldn't have bought it as a collector. I would have only bought it as an investor. And anytime I ever catch myself buying products for 100% investment purposes and like having zero emotional attachment to anything, I try to back away. So yeah, sorry, I can't really give you a better answer for that, but it's just, for me, to be 100% investment, that's when people really get burned, if you think about it. Because when you have a product for literally an investment and that product starts to really tank or go down, you start to look at this product and say, well, I don't care about this. I might as well take a 30% loss on it because I have no emotional attachment to it. Where if you had like a Battle Styles booster box and it dropped from 100 to 80, you're like, well, I still like this. I'm gonna keep it. I don't want to sell it. It's not just all about the investment for me. It's still that collecting aspect to it. So it changes a lot. Back on your MetaZoo singles, if you picked up Hollows up back a couple months ago from Kickstarter, easy doubled them now. No, yeah, I'm sure. A lot of that's probably just new eyes on the hobby too. Oh yeah, you just said no worries, just into Weiss because of Ninja Batman. The boxes look real sweet. Yeah, I just don't know enough about it. Pokemon is where I spend most of my time researching, most of my time collecting. Now, I don't know what's like your guys' favorite sets. I guess I go back to some of the questions that were brought up in the one of them was I wish I had a better way to do that than just on my phone. Let's see my channel. Let's see. Did you guys see the cover photo I put for that Q&A? It was just Steve from Blue's Clues with like the Poke Knowledge Final Supper scene. I don't know. Everybody was talking about Steve because he had like made that video wherever we talked where he's like, just so you know, you're still my friend, So everybody was making memes about that, and I was like, oh, I got to do one of him like opening up a letter, for mail time, so you guys could do your Q&A. Let's see. Do you expect any new types of cards to be made next year, like lenticular print? Am I saying lenticular printing or such? So lenticular printing is like 3D printing, and we've seen cards like that in the past. Pokemon flips, you remember those? They were from like 1990. They would be like a Pikachu, and then you would move the flips a little bit, and then the holograph would show like a Raichu, and it would look like they were moving. Or you'd have like Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee, like one of those cards that didn't have like an evolution to it, and it would move, and like they would be doing a different kick or a different punch. If you like those lenticular style printing cards, like you can buy some of those flips. They're I'd say probably like less than $10 for a pack of those, but I don't see Pokemon bringing that kind of stuff back. Maybe more like textured cards, but nothing like that. Let's see what else were the questions we had. What's in here? Collecting right now. What do you think? Why are Shadowless cards not more respected in the hobby? Same print run, same year, same art. So this part was just written 14 minutes ago by SD Collectibles. So anyways, what he wrote is, why are Shadowless cards not more respected in the hobby? Same print run, same year, same art, lower pop as PS3 report. So depending on what you think about Shadowlesses, no one knows for sure, but the thought process was that all Shadowless cards were first edition cards. And what I mean by that is Pokemon had all their sheets, uncut sheets of Shadowless cards. And for however they selected a bunch of sheets of those cards and decided to just print the first edition stamps onto those sheets. That's what a lot of people think. I don't know how true that is. Like, I have no way to talk to Wizard of the Coast employees or anything. But the crazy thing is if you look at first edition Shadowless cards, the print quality and the centering and everything for those cards is much better. And a lot of that thought process is like what I said, is when they took those sheets and they selected the ones that they were going to put that first edition stamp on it, they only selected like the better sheets. So, or they spent a little bit more time like making sure that those cards were right. Now, Shadowless cards are always going to be second tier. And the reason why is there's a mindset in this hobby that we will not be able to change, and that's that first edition cards should carry a premium over anything else. And there's some other sets where you can potentially make arguments that first edition print runs could have been as big, if not bigger, than some of like the unlimited runs for some of like the older WotC sets. So people just don't care. They want that first edition stamp. So what was your question asking? Yeah, lower pop PSA. Shadowless cards are great. I would say if you're going after a, very beginner type set that you want to complete that's relatively rare, Shadowless cards are definitely the way to go, because you can pick up a lot of Shadowless cards on eBay. There's a lot of Shadowless cards in different lots. the feel, not the feel, but the look to Shadowless cards as a whole are just so much better. And even the way that the writing and the type, everybody looks at Shadowless and they look at, okay, there's no shadow on the border, and yeah, you have the 4 dates and opposed to the 3 at the bottom. What people don't realize is that the printing on Shadowless cards is so much different than on unlimited cards that even that alone makes those cards, for an eye appeal purpose, so much better. So that's my answer to answer that. Any of your friends collect Pokemon? Got a case of evolutions. I have a sign for when my boys were over. Let's see. Cool. Be cool playing TCG with lenticular designs. Yeah, I could see that being cool. Yeah, I'll tell you where like a lenticular design would be good. If you like the 2 card hats for like Heart Gold Soul Silver, you know, like I'm sure there's a name for them. Maybe one of you guys in the comments could write, but like the 2 cards and you put them together and they make like the one image. They're doing it now with like the V Union cards. But those Heart Gold Soul Silver, like the artwork on some of those cards, can you imagine those printed in like a lenticular design? That would be like out of this world type amazing. But once they had stopped printing first edition, they had remaining sheets and decided to use them as to not waste the sheets and continued on as a limited. So I've heard the opposite. I heard, I once got a box from a friend and it had a Blastoise. I'm guessing you had what kind of box? Like a base set box? Probably had a lot of stuff in it that had a Blastoise in it. Yeah. No, the legend cards. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Woods. Yeah. A lot of people write in legend cards. I don't know. Sometimes I just get, brain farts. Lenticular Deoxys is the only one I know of. Yeah, I'd have to look that card up. I'm not even familiar with it. What do you guys think about like Delta Species cards? Would you like to see like more of a resurgence of Delta Species? I always love like the thought that you could have, a fire Pokemon like Charizard or whatever, and have him be a Delta Species, so then he has an electric type move. I think that's awesome. And definitely like Delta Species too. It's funny because you have the Delta Species cards and they're very different. Like the Pokemon themselves are different colors, and they almost did that in a way with like the Galarian Pokemon, right? Like you have all your Galarian Pokemon are just different colors, but it didn't hit the same. It kind of missed its mark a little bit. Like I don't know what's like a common Galarian Pokemon. I just saw like the Galarian Rapidash box the other day. Like the Galarian Rapidash opposed to like the normal base set one versus the Galarian one. Like the color difference is cool. One being red, one being white, but it hits a little differently. So yeah, a lot of people say love Delta Species. Best Dragonite is a Delta Species. What do you think is the most underrated Dragonite? Or sorry, Dragonair. I said Dragonite. But what do you think is the most underrated Dragonair? I like the Dragonair from EX Dragons is one of my favorites. I think everyone knows like the Fossil Dragonair, and everyone knows like the Team Rocket Dragonair, but he's had some pretty good artworks in the past, but he's also had some pretty bad artworks. Like the Dragonair, the full art in Evolutions is dumb looking. Like you can make Dragonair look like a badass Pokemon, or you can make him look like the Barney of Charizards, like just this goofy guy. But I would like to see some like real good Dragonair artwork. Expedition Dragonite is underrated. There's no bad or Dragon. There are no bad Dragonairs. Dark Dragonair. The Dark Dragonair from Team Rocket. What is? Hold on. Let's see if I can do the impression. Like just have his face to the side. I don't know. Rocket is definitely. The grass type in Dragon Frontiers is cool. But yeah, it's just, see, that's the thing about Pokemon hobby is you can like Dragonair best card. I like the like Jolteon with the, is it, he's got Togepi in his, I think it's Togepi. Oh god, I hope it's Togepi. But I like the like Jolteon. Like Dragonair is a nice card too. But like that's the crazy thing, right? With Pokemon is you can just take any Pokemon or any set, and you can talk about it forever, and you can be so excited about just anything in this hobby. I think that's why this hobby hits different than other like TCGs. And with MetaZoo, like I know the question asked earlier about MetaZoo, like how do I feel about something like that? Is when you MetaZoo doesn't hit the same, and yeah, it's new, but Mothman being the chase, is that going to be something that we're going to talk about 20 years from now and say, what's your favorite Mothman? Like, oh, what do you think that Mothman should have like a different ability, or are you not really going to care about that? So I just think like that's the difference between Pokemon. You know, you could talk about like Pikachu probably for 20 years. Like there's so much Pikachu going on and so much that will continue going on. I'm sure every one of you guys have your own underrated Pikachu card, whether it's a common, and we just, all right, let's just talk about this right now. Let's think about Pikachu, right, from base set, how you can have conversation. Pikachu for base set, first Shadowless first edition, red cheeks or yellow cheeks. Then you have just Shadowless, red cheeks or yellow cheeks. You got the E4 cards, Shadowless or red cheeks. You got, what was it? Oh God, Australia, Poketour Australia, whatever. You got that Pikachu. Then you got Pikachu Unlimited. I'm sure I'm probably missing, and that's just base set Pikachus. Like, how many different variations of that card exist? Like, you can talk about cards and talk about sets and talk about, yeah, he said I need an E4 Pikachu. E4 Pikachus are relatively cheap, and I'd say if you want one, get one. I think it's a very important thing to have in your collection. XY Black Star promo Pikachu is my favorite, then the Gold Star. So not XY Black Star Pro, but the Pikachu, I think it's the Pikachu from the Pokemon Tokyo. See, I think I just had a mini stroke there. I just stuttered so much. But the Pikachu from the Pokemon Center in Tokyo, that opening that came out in 2014, that's a Pikachu that has like the Charizard poncho on. That card is very cheap still. I haven't seen, I don't know what like the current prices of that card is, but you could buy that card for less than $100 for a long time. And that Charizard, or sorry, Pikachu with the Charizard poncho, I think it has a weird name. It's like a Pikachu, and the only reason I remember because he wrote XY Black, but it was like Pikachu XY promo, blah blah blah. But it's a Pokemon Tokyo promo, and that card, in order to get that promo, you literally had to be at Pokemon Center in Tokyo for when they relocated, and you had to be there in person to get that card. So it was super rare, super like hard to find, and didn't sell for a lot of money at all. Like there's cards out there like that. Well, and that card's a non-hollow too, so it's pretty easy to grade. Like, yeah, you had probably a lot of kids walking home with those, so you're probably going to see most of them in like 7s, 8s. But it's not a super hard grade, especially for the surface. Yeah. Oh, all the Pika ponchos and Battle Fiestas are fire. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw. I had pinned Australian Blastoise had asked me to give him his Instagram a shout out. He was trying to start it up. So I told him, yeah, no problem. I'd give him a shout out. But he got big into the Battle Fiesta Pikachu. And if you go on his Instagram, he just got one at a PSA 9. And it's crazy what those Pikachu Battle Fiestas are doing. They're pulling in like between 3 and 4 G's. That's a lot of money for that, Pikachu Battle Fiesta card. It's crazy. And that's just the thing about some of the Japanese promos. Like, I'm not a big Japanese collector, and I don't pretend to be. I have Japanese cards, but they do have the best promos. And I'll be the first one to say that. Now, am I a fan of the Japanese band cards? This is the thing about Japanese band cards, is they're not rare. Like, to have a Grimer looking up a skirt, that card is in so many different packs. That wasn't a huge set. You can probably crack one of those booster boxes and pull 15 of those cards in the booster box. So, like the Misty's Tears, the same thing. If you want side boob action for Misty, like, go ahead, get yourself a Misty's Tears. Like, it's a fun card to have. Like, everyone should have one in their collection. But now, am I a fan of band cards? Like, I'm not going to like mass huge collections or huge positions in, and just because there's not like a low population of them. There are a lot of them out there, and there will probably continue to be a lot of them out there, and especially like some of those older Japanese band cards, like you asked. The print quality for all those cards are so good that we will see a lot of packs being open probably for the foreseeable future for a lot of this Japanese product. So we'll see even more of those hit the market. But I mean, they're cool, right? Like, some of them makes you scratch your head. Anyone see Adidas Pikachu and 15th anniversary FA Pikachu are my favorite. The Adidas Pikachu card, I know the card you're describing. I think that's the one he has the referee jersey on. Could be wrong, but I don't remember how that card was distributed. So maybe you can let me know. I'm just reading some of the comments right now. Which set from 2021 do you think will hold up the best in the future? Battle Styles. The reason why is because it's the cheapest. You'll get it for the cheapest. If you picked up Battle Styles in 2021 at $80, in the future, it will hold the best, because you will have picked it up, in my opinion, at the bottom. And if Battle Styles ever creeped up to $200, that's a 2x return. If it ever creeps up to 300, that's a 3x. If you bought right now an Evolving Skies at like $183, $180, whatever Battle Style or Evolving Skies booster boxes at these high prices, bought it at 180, you got to wait for that booster box to hit 360 to make the same amount of, to double your return. And that's the same as a Battle Styles booster box hitting 160. Is that a ballsy say? Yeah. A lot of people out there probably not like going the bat for Battle Styles. Now, do I think Vivid Voltage at 120 is a good pickup? Yeah. Well, this is just for the modern conversation. Now, do I think Sword and Shield base is a good pickup? If there's a reprint, I think it's a good pickup to get it like real low. Rebel Clash, probably not. Darkness Ablaze, those booster boxes sat a long time for like between $100 and $110. The thing about modern is everybody's waiting for the retrace. When is it going to come? When will we see booster boxes start to retrace? I think people are getting mad now. People are getting upset because they keep seeing the prices of these booster boxes just like gradually tick up, and you think about all of them, all the booster boxes. That's why and see me laughing, like, people hate it. Oh my God, people hate it so much. Sometimes I hate it. Like, everything keeps going up. It's like, okay, Sword and Shield creeped up. Rebel Clash creeped up. Darkness Ablaze creeped up. Vivid Voltage, reprint, went back down. But Battle Styles hit its bottom, starts to creep back up. People hate that. I think people really hate that things are creeping back up because it it's anti the argument against modern, right? And that's I think it's super fair argument, like you don't want to talk about modern because of how much it is printed and how much of it people are sitting on. And it's going to bring up the question in the long term, like what are people's exit points? Because a lot of people I talk to, even like smaller collectors who only buy like two of each product, they say they're going to buy one to hold and one to sell in the future. Now, the one to sell in the future, I always wonder, like, what is that dollar amount for you? Because I that used to always be the way I did it, and I bought the only modern booster box I bought multiple of was Cosmic Eclipse. I bought one to open, one to hold, and one to sell in the future. My one to sell in the future, I haven't sold yet, and the reason why I haven't sold it yet was it's already like gone up. I think Cosmic Eclipse hit like a high of $500 or maybe more now. I'm not really following the price because it's gone up so much. I know Team Up booster boxes are selling for like 700 or something like that, which is ridiculous too. Now, I have these booster boxes and I have my one to hold on to and I have one to sell for a lot of these sets and I haven't sold them yet. Maybe that's stupid. Uh, I don't know. It's crazy to think about though, right? And I wonder what everybody's price to sell is. Because if everybody is doing what I'm doing and they got that one to sell, it's like, well, what's your price? And maybe this is like that bubble. Everybody talks about like what's like the very high end of the bubble. It's the delusion or whatever. Like maybe that's what we all are at. It's just that like delusion stage of okay, like we wanted our booster boxes to double in price. They doubled in price, and we're like, yeah, no way we're selling. I'm not selling this Cosmic Eclipse booster box for $500. That whatever. Yeah, Kingman said people are hoarding hard. Yeah, we we are. 2040 hype will be nostalgia for the 2020 boom. Can you imagine? And that's a crazy thing too is people say new collectors aren't getting in. And I've seen people ask the question as well, like, is Pokemon cross-generational? Yeah, Pokemon is cross-generational because we've already seen it. Like, yeah, I have a newborn, he's sleeping in the room, and I'm probably gonna have to end the stream pretty soon, but you know, he will have Pokemon in his life, whether he wants to or not. I'll just let you know that much. Like, I will spoon feed him fucking Pikachu, like cereal and stuff that he doesn't want. He doesn't, like some people have that one parent who's like drives their kids to like play sports and that kid's very unathletic or he doesn't want to play the sport and that parent like makes him play that sport. I'll be like that parent, but with Pokemon until he gets like too old. And then I'll be like, all right, I understand. Like, you're going to hit high school. You're probably not going to like Pokemon anymore, but I'll see you in 15 years. So I'll probably be that dad. But like I said, it is cross generational. We're already seeing it. And, that hype in 2040 where people talk about like, it's very possible because you have a new generation of a lot of people my age and your age probably have like 6 to 10-year-olds at home. You know, what would you say is like as a kid the ideal Pokemon age? I would say it's when when you could start to be old enough to watch the cartoons and the movies and collect the cards, but still understand like that these cards are rare. Maybe understand how to play the game. Understand that like maybe I should take good care of these cards. And that's the thing too is the parents of our generation, so like us and you, we're now teaching our kids to like not just take their Charizard and throw it through the washing machine. We're teaching our kids to like protect these things. So is it possible like the condition will be much higher? Yeah. So maybe like in the future, when people look back on these sets, they'll only look at like everything at super high condition, especially graded stuff. But that sealed product will still have like the thought process that it's sealed product. The cards inside are probably of good quality, of high condition. Me and you right now know that with like print quality of Chill and Rain and some of these newer sets, like the print quality has been just trash. So in the future, I'm wondering like if they take that into account, like, yeah, these sets were super produced. There's a ton of this graded at high grades, but we're gonna get the sealed product because that's like gonna be the good condition, and it just there'll probably be a lot of pack opener videos in the future, like where they're like, look at this Chill and Rain box I bought. This just sold on eBay for $5,000, and oh shit, all the cards are trash. uh, let's see. Yeah. So Colvis says his boy loves him. He's 7 years old. Loves the money side too, and that's great. Like that's like that weird thing. It's like, should you tell your kids that like things have financial value to it? It's like, yeah, I'm a strong believer in, like understand financials at a very young age. And so Matt had asked me, if you guys know Matt Deegan, he's around in so many different chats. I love reading all his comments. Usually writes like the longest comment in every single person's post, but he's newer to the hobby, but he's definitely like learning a lot, and he's doing really good. And Matt asked me in that question I had asked earlier, the first part was with regards to invest in, does your personal portfolio extend beyond Pokemon into other collectible hobbies, stocks, crypto, etc.? You seem like a collector through and through. Curious to know how much of your participation in the hobby involves investing, selling, flipping, etc. So first off, Pokemon should never be your primary investment strategy, in my opinion. Depending on whether you're self-employed or you work for a company, like if you work for a company, 401k. I actually, maybe I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do like any sort of investment advice because I'm a geologist by trade. So I don't, none of this is investment advice, but like, I guess the question is asking for what I do. So I do company match for my 401k. I believe that I can invest my money better than I just go right up to the company max and that's it. So I'm a big believer in anything Roth. So if you like to invest Roth, do pre-tax stuff. I make a little bit too much money for like a Roth IRA. So I have to do a traditional IRA, but like through my accountant, I'm able to do what's called a backdoor IRA. I don't know how he does it, but it's like a loophole around that. So I definitely believe like max out your IRA, start mine. And then I'm a big stock guy. I love like individual stocks. I love finding companies that make sense to me. And like my best returning investments have always been things that made sense. In college, I never had a smartphone. I was that guy. I was the last person out of all my friends to get a smartphone. And in 2012, I finally pulled the trigger and I got an iPhone 6. And I got it and I went, okay, yeah, I get it. That's it. That's why everyone likes phones. You can never go back. I can never go back to a flip phone. So, well, first thing I did was I had some money saved up. I bought Apple stock. Like that's because it made sense to me. Like buy this because I was like, this makes sense. Like phones make sense. Everybody's gonna want phones, and I like kind of carry that through. I bought like some small cap stuff. I don't know if you guys like small cap. I got through. All right, I'm not going to talk about stocks invest anymore because I'm watching the view count. People are just like, this is fucking stupid. All right, the Pokemon card game, good. Yeah, see, this is why I don't like in talking about investment. And just talk about Pokemon. Pokemon is so wide now as a brand kids can interact with a lot more than we could. Yep. I work, but use Pokemon only to make enough money to add to my collection. That's the way it should be. Pokemon should always be fun. And I say this all the time. The very second, like the millisecond, you ever feel that Pokemon stops being fun, this probably is the wrong hobby for you. Or more importantly, if it's not the wrong hobby, you're doing something wrong. And the reason why I say you're doing something wrong is because it's not fun for you anymore. And that's like the most important thing in this hobby is to do this because it's fun. Do this because you enjoy it. Like if you don't enjoy it, trust me, just leave or take a step back and put your collection away, put it in the closet, put it in your, safe, put it in your filing cabinet or wherever the heck you store your cards. Put it away and just take a step back. Say, I'm not going to buy this set, or I'm not going to buy these 2 sets, or I'm going to not buy this special collection box. Just take a step back because you want to know what? When you do decide to return and when you do decide to come back to the hobby, Pokemon will be there. And the sets will be different, and maybe some of the characters will be different, but the fundamentals and the passion that is Pokemon will always be there. And you'll be able to always get back into it. But if this hobby stops being fun for you, like, please don't let something amazing like Pokemon ever be like your downfall or where you hate it. Oh God, what do we got here? How do I block people? Oh, that's cool. I actually got like my first ever spam guy in the comments. Let me know down in the comments if any of you guys are interested in being a moderator for this channel. Like, let me know. I didn't do any of that stuff, so. Yeah, Roth. I'm that one weirdo that does not care if Pokemon goes up. I hope basic trainer. You say that, but you don't believe that. I've seen a little bit of your collection when you were on PokeGal's channel, Basic Trainer. I know what you have a little bit. I don't know like nearly all your collection. But you had a base set unlimited booster box, and that booster box had already dropped a lot of value since you were on that video. But I seriously doubt that there's a part of you that hopes that just isn't worth anything in the future. I'm sure you hope your collection is more valuable in the future. And I don't know. And I think you do care if Pokemon goes to 0. I think I don't know. I don't believe that comment, Basic Trainer. Yeah, like Alan says, all he knows is modern. Now, I would love to know, like, somebody who all you know is modern. Are you still interested in vintage? Like, does it excite you? Like, do you enjoy the chase, or do you find it harder because the way you're going to obtain those cards is much different? Because you're not going to just rip a bunch of vintage packs in order to get the stuff. Like, that'd be crazy. So the way you're going to go about attaining those cards, is it much different? I've been opening packs that aren't fun. My boy and I have been getting burned, make me want to only get singles. Welcome to Pokemon. If your goal is to only pull the chase cards, this hobby is going to be a long road. Team Trivish said 2020 has made a lot of collectors cynics. Yes. Yeah. I am with art. Is this just one big discussion? Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. That's what my channel is. Have you ever listened to my videos? So with my channel, do you ever like see like my name is Knowledge Cards? Like, I don't like my name that I chose for the channel. I originally wanted to educate people with like the different, like more like the vintage stuff and like talk about the sets. And I was like, maybe I'll do like a different set every week and we'll talk about it. We'll look at different chase cards and stuff like this. And PTCG Radio, I think, does a similar type of series. And I want to talk about, like, just all the way back from, go the difference between first edition Shadowless, Unlimited, and do it at like a very entry level type stuff. And so when I decided to pick my name, I chose Poke Knowledge Cards. Like, it would just be like a channel you would go to learn knowledge of different stuff. And a lot of it would just be like obtained from Bulbapedia, or anywhere that I didn't personally know. I could fill in the gaps with some of the information that's out there. And then one day I just started like, all right, I'm just going to start ranting one day. And I was like, this is way more fun. There's like not as much effort to just rant as there is effort to go and research a lot of these cards. And if you ever hear in my videos, I'm the worst person when it comes to saying names of Pokemon. And that's because, yeah, right now I'm talking about Pokemon with you and I'm having this conversation, but I've had so much internal dialogue about Pokemon for as long as for the last, 9 years, I've had internal dialogue where I've either typed out something and that was it. Like, I have one friend who is a modest collector. He's not like a huge collector. So I never said like the names of Pokemon, which, how crazy does that sound? Like, that I never actually like said names of Pokemon. So I have created the names in my head, and sometimes it just comes out looking like ridiculous. But Basic Trainer said, keep reading my comment. Of course, I would love to send my cards to my kids with college. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Or even retire. But the way I look, my face hurt. Oh, okay, yeah. I would love, yeah, and that makes more sense, Basic Trainer. Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. That's like part of this is going live for the first time. Is like, maybe this will be a little bit more in the future. Maybe I did get some offers, like, while they're just going in and commenting on other people's videos, and they did like offer me to come on, and maybe that'll be something I do in the future. I don't know. I'm not against it. I wish modern Pokemon would use vintage hollow foil pattern. The new patterns, they look terrible. Which hollow foil patterns are you talking about? Because there's some shitty ones too. They're not like Cosmo foils, but there's a lot of like some of the older Nintendo series have more. They're like bubble hollows, if that makes sense. I don't know what the name is for them, but they look like shitty bubbles in the hollow themselves, but they're not like the Cosmos hollows. Like, very different. They're like bubble hollows, and they look trashy. So I don't know like which hollow foil palettes you're talking about, unless you're talking like real like base set stuff. And can we talk about that base set artwork? So I did that video on this channel where if somebody had discovered the original backgrounds. It was like, I think my thumbnail was like the Scyther artwork, and I took their video and I got permission from them to show like the original stock photos and how they overlaid the character onto it, and they got the image. And then like a couple days later, Leonhardt made the same exact video. Now, did he watch this video and steal that video idea? No, maybe not, because I did steal that. I didn't steal it. I got permission to use that video from somebody else. But I did think it was funny. I was just like, because when I had talked to them, I know Leonhardt had not talked to them. So I was wondering, like, is this super small channel like getting some like major traction or some people looking at it? But who knows? Yeah, Pork. Yeah. Let's say Pork X Shoulder. Nice to put a face on Poke Knowledge. Love the videos and your opinions on the hobby. Thanks. One of the things about this too is interacting with the community, even if it's just through comments and stuff. And I know the hobby can get a couple things. It can get boring, maybe draining, maybe hard sometimes. But one of the things that keeps this hobby excited is like the dialogue, the communication, whether you're through a Discord or an E4 or Twitter account or an Instagram account, or the comment section of these YouTube channels. Like, if this helps you to do a couple things: one, be a better collector, investor, and just all around Pokemon enthusiast, like, do it, engage in the hobby. And like, even on my channel, I have a lot of people that have probably never commented on one single video, but I know they watch it because, like, sometimes I'll get some of my videos get like 1,000+ views and 50 comments. There's a lot of people that watch my videos who don't engage in the comment section, and that's fine. But as long as they're taking something out of this hobby, that's all that matters. And do what works for you. Engage in this hobby however you want. And that's pretty important. All right. My CGC entries are finally back in grade and sent them back in February. Yeah, so Alan, I've had my February 10th submission returned on July 15th. My February 17th CGC bulk submission is in the mail as we speak right now. So I don't know when your CGC entry was, but like I said, my February 17th is in the mail right now. You come back to the hobby via Leonhardt, you stick and learn more watching people like me. Oh, thank you. Any thoughts on pre-Wizard of the Coast Japanese stuff, card ass or top sunsets? It's kind of funny you say card ass, because I literally, like, at the very beginning of this live stream, one of the questions was from Matt, or somebody asked, well, what would be a set I would like, or what would be like my dream set? And one of them I said was, I would love to see like the original trainers, Ash with Pikachu, and not, we had the reds with Pikachu and Cosmic Eclipse, and I would like a Misty with Psyduck and a Brock with Onyx. Now, we actually did get, it was like Neo, Gym Challenge and Gym, I forget which gyms had the Misty Psyducks, but it was literally just the Psyduck. There was no Misty. But in the card ass, there is that Misty Psyduck on the same card. So they kind of did make my dream set a long time ago, but card ass is so niche. Top Sun 2, I feel like a lot of people tried to push up Top Sun, especially at the beginning of this year, and I think they all ran into that eventual wall. The high-end cards are worth money, but it's tough. Wouldn't it surprise me if the biggest channel's watching? They have to keep their ears to the streets, so it would speak. It's mostly what you said. Oh, awesome, man. Yeah. It's the conversations that take place in the comments. And I have noticed, and I don't want to I guess I'll say it, but I've seen some stuff that I've said on the channel be repeated late, a couple days or a week later in other people's channels. And a lot of the opinions I took at the time of that video were either controversial or were not a lot of popular opinions in the hobby. And people started talking about them like they were almost on the level. And I was just like, I don't know, interesting. Aaron Greens, I've never commented. Well, welcome. Today's my favorite part is connecting with fellow hobbyists. Yeah. Basic trainer, you do a lot. It's very interesting how you engage. You've gotten onto some different channels. I know you just did your MetaZoo conversation. I saw that with Bulba Squad and Mason, and I saw you on PokeGals. So I have a question. How did you reseal the Evolutions tin so well? I didn't. See, that's the thing. So Aaron, all I did was, that was a real factory sealed tin. I just opened the tin, opened it, put the tin down, and then you could see for it looks like for, I don't know, 1/4 of a second, I just paused the video and I took the packs out and I resealed the packs. So that's why it looked so legit. It's all just Well, what I was trying to prove in that video was not everything is what it looks like. Things like that is very easy. My videos are not very choppy, meaning they're pretty much just like straight through recordings for the most part. Sometimes I'll go off on a tangent. I'll cut some of it, but it's most of the time just me talking. When you watch a lot of these pack openers, their videos are very choppy. And a lot of it's to save time so you can't see them opening. But just be mindful when like videos get real choppy, where somebody's hands like this, and then for no reason, it's like that in the video and it just instantly moves super fast. Like, just think that maybe something is going on. So that answers that question, Aaron. Yeah, it's kind of like the magician pulling back the, once you learn how the trick is done, it's not, the magic trick isn't really fun anymore. Well, we see at least Z&G drop a comment here and there on your video. Yeah, that's cool. I think I need to comment on one of Z&G's videos in the very near term. Have you noticed very recent sets have very inconsistent pull rates, high or low, depending on the product type, I assume? Yeah, I mean, I haven't been opening like a crazy amount of modern product just because grading is closed for me. I don't like to deal with raw cards. So if I'm opening a lot of product, that means I'm going to have a lot of duplicates, a lot of triplicates or whatever. It's very hard for me to move those cards right now. So I try not to. I just keep everything sealed. But I mean, from the videos I've watched, I mean, it looks not really inconsistent, just looks pretty straight across the board. Like Battle Styles, very poor pull rates, Chill and Rain, better pull rates, and Evolving Skies just been pretty great pull rates. Yeah, Aaron said it looks so good. Basic Trainer said, oh, I did not catch that. Yeah, so if you don't leave this video, but you could write down on a piece of notebook paper. You could go to, I think it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds into that video and watch at the 2:30 mark. You'll see that tin like do a little phantom ghost movement. And that's when I had picked up the packs and the tin headlights fell a little bit. Adam said, nice to see your face knowledge. By the way, finally getting my CGC economy cards I submitted the same time I submitted my CGC economy with subgrades that I got back last month. Yeah. Sealed is king. With deep fake and video editing, we can be fooled easily for sure. Yeah. Like I said, I did that video more as a learning thing than anything else. But, oh, look at this. Got somebody in the chat. Is that when your chats have made it, when you get bots in there? All right, guys, it's getting pretty late here, so I'm going to end this stream. Went on for almost a little over 2 hours. Pretty impressive. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Maybe this will be something I do a little bit more often. Definitely maybe start being on some other people's channels too. But yeah. Aaron said, I love watching an old booster box open from 7 years ago where it takes one guy. All right, guys. Well, listen, do me a favor before you leave. If you could do me one favor, just hit that like button if you haven't hit it already. Do me a solid. But otherwise, go back, watch that Resealed video, go to the 2:30 mark. And then also, if you haven't watched the Pokemon clickbait video that I made, that's one of my favorite ones. And if you guys are a Rick and Morty fan, go watch that. It's literally, the title is Pokemon clickbait. It had like 500 views. It was one of my least viewed channel or videos, but it had literally the worst title ever. It was literally Pokemon clickbait. But other than that, catch you guys on the next video.